I don't know how many of you can resonate with this, but I didn't take July 14th, 2022, the night in which I'm filming this, to be the day where many of my favorite artists release new music-related material, whether they be, again, like I said, maybe something different than a single or a new single for an upcoming album. To name a couple examples, Starset, longtime favorite of mine, especially on this channel in terms of coverage, released a new music video for their song Symbiotic, which did debut in October of last year, but the music video is new and that debuted today. But as far as singles are concerned, because you might say, well, that's a bit of a different case. Let's talk about singles. Demi Lovato released a new song, single Substance for her upcoming new album. Icon for Hire released a new single for their album The Reckoning entitled Breakdown. And now you have Demon Hunter coming on the scene, who's also been a longtime favorite of mine, and releasing a new song for Exile entitled Defense Mechanism. I'm not sure what track number this is on the album. Either way, it's the third track and third single released thus far, but every one of those groups chose July 14th to release this new stuff. It's really funny to me. I mean, on one level, I'm grateful, like, oh, we got new music-related stuff, but either way, I'm just kind of like, why did you all pick the same day? It's really odd. However, despite the oddity that is today, apparently, in this situation, I'm more than excited to have, more music to cover on this channel, or more music-related material, especially from Demon Hunter, who I've covered previously in terms of Exile, this 11th album, I believe, at this point, with their previous two singles, Freedom is Dead and Silence the World. I think Exile sounds really good. I've been a fan of Demon Hunter for a very long time, the last 12-ish years, even though they've been around for 20. I've listened to, well, at this point, I think almost their entire library. Yes, I've taken to listening to some of their older albums I hadn't listened to previously the past couple weeks, and I've really enjoyed the experience. But I've been a fan of Demon Hunter for a while. I've loved covering them on this channel, as well as the music in general. For those of you who are more familiar with the coverage I offer here, I tend to focus more on the visual space in regard to the entertainment industry and the arts, but I recently opened the door to music coverage, because it's an area of entertainment that I've wanted, and art, that I've wanted to venture in for some time when it comes to this channel and talk about on a deeper level. But music for me, as good as our art forms are, has been a first love. So it's something that I'm very passionate about. And for me, just the experience of sharing my thoughts on good music, whether it be just from talented musicians or just messages that resonate with all of us, it's something that I've wanted to feature here for a very long time. And I'm grateful I finally opened the door to it because I was able to cover a band like Demon Hunter. Again, longtime favorite, a real staple within the Christian metal genre. Being a Christian, of course, I'm very familiar with, many Christian groups out there, and Demon Hunter is certainly no exception. They've been around for a long time, as I stated. And I think Exile is really shaping up to be a good release. As far as the last couple tracks have gone, Freedom is Dead being my favorite. Silence the World, and for those of you who aren't familiar with Demon Hunter, they're, as I said, staples within the Christian metal scene. They play around with genre sometimes, though. And so far from what we've seen with Exile, it's been a bit of a mix in terms of their familiar stylings. They float between more aggressive metal, I think more so what they're known for, with between that and softer ballad structured numbers. They might maybe have a rougher edge and they might be softer. It depends maybe on the nature of the track and the album and the way the overall sequence flows. But so far with Exile, we've had a bit of a mix. And the album itself sounds really cool. I mean, I'm still kind of getting over the fact that the last album we had, or the dual album, 3 years ago, yes, it was an extensive break, I think for no fault of their own, but 20 tracks, or 22 if you consider the bonus album with the 2 exclusives. And we're now reducing that to 12, or considering the bonus album, 14 tracks. It's a bit of a reduction. I'm still kind of getting over that, but it is, a pretty enlarged album with the incorporation of lore and a conceptual focus. That's new for them. I don't think they've ever done that before in terms of one of their releases. But thus far, as far as the tracks are concerned, it's a bit of a mixture here on the album. I'm interested to see where Defense Mechanism goes, though. Again, the name is inviting, and I'm certainly imagining that this plays into the lore side of Exile, which sounds like a pretty interesting story. If you're curious, they feature this on their website if you want to look deeper. And they're also going to be releasing, like I said, big release. There's a 4-issue comic book coming out with this if you choose to buy, I think it's a deluxe edition online. This is a much, larger album, at least what I was originally thinking they would put out, 3 years after waiting after War and Peace. Now we have an album that may have less tracks, but 14 is usually there. 14, 12 usually in terms of standard releases. It's been their average. 14 for deluxe editions. It does fit in terms of their normal production. Even though I'm still the last one had 22. That was a treat. And 3 years later, we've been waiting. Either way, new music, new stuff from Demon Hunter. can't wait to cover. Let's take a look at Defense Mechanism and see how this goes. And of course, for your ease, I will not only, of course, feature the track so you can give us a first listen together, but I will also feature the lyrics at the bottom of the screen. Should that be your preference to understand the message being expressed as we listen to the track together? Because, listening to music is one thing, but it's much more fun to analyze the music on a deeper level as well, in terms of the lyrical message. All right, let me go ahead and cue this up, and we can give Defense Mechanism a listen and find out maybe where the direction of this one goes. Because again, we've gone from rock to ballad. Where will this one stand? Metal! And quite hectic, but good. His vocals are excellent here. Ryan Clark just has such a signature style with his singing. Or screaming. This is good. That chorus is excellent in terms of the pacing. Okay, repeating that line, that's fine. That faster pace really works for me in that section. Is this the guest guitarist? I'll mention him after, but I did read there was one in here. Yeah, I was gonna say, that wasn't Ryan. This chorus is excellent. I'm trying to think if they've done anything this frenetic in the past, because this is like really hardcore for them. It fits well with like Freedom is Dead. I get The World is a Foreign vibes. Bit of an interlude here. This is good though. It still keeps the momentum up high. Where it should be, again, it's what was established in the beginning. If I didn't know better, I'd say like Ivan Moody from Five Finger Death Punch is on this. That's how his voice sounds. That's really good though. Solid track all around. The way that track goes, I wanted to continue on longer than it was. I mean, that's still like, that's nearly 4 minutes. That's good though. This album for me, like I stated, Freedom is Dead, which is still such a good song. I love it. How many times I've listened to that song now at this point? It's so solid all around. And like I said, I mean, Demon Hunter, again, I've liked their ballad stuff too. Like, I like their music, whatever genre that their songs might be best placed in. But the metal stuff that's what I'm more geared to, just as a general genre preference. Freedom is Dead, similar to this one, evokes a lot of the past energy of Demon Hunter from previous albums, even if perhaps it's a new take. For example, with that track, I stated I got Life War, One Less, and the Negative vibes. Here, this comes across, I'd say, with the frenetic energy. It matches, I would say, in tone to Freedom is Dead quite well. And the key sounds like what I'm not an expert musician in this case, but the key sounds very similar to where they've been in past metal tracks as well from many of their other releases. But the pacing of it sounds a lot like The World is a Thorn in its rapidity. That's what I don't know. That's the track that I think best. I know, like, the background guitar riff, especially like, if you've heard that song before, where it's that section in the verse where it's like, can you see the fabric of our standards wearing thin? That guitar pacing there, when he says defense mechanism, at least in the song's case here, instantly I'm just like, that's the track it best sounds like to me. I mean, they've done other songs as well with their past couple albums that have also had that fast pacing, but not like this. This is much more aggressive, and I really like that, by the way. I think it's a strength of the track. The lyrics, as far as analyzing them, Freedom is Dead played with some very relevant messages. From what I remember right in terms of the analysis I've given, not only the lyrics, but the general feedback from other listeners, that one is playing some relevant themes. For example, the feeling of conformity versus individuality, some feedback expressed maybe perhaps a narrative focus on the effect of cancel culture. But it's harder to look at lyrics in this case. My larger point here, this is very much a conceptual album. So at the same time, I'm trying to best gauge perhaps the substance of the track, which when I read the lyrics here, this comes across to me as the same type of message regarding societal conformity versus, again, dissenting. I mean, that's a key word here that I keep seeing again referred to. But it seems like, this is why I was saying with the challenge, it's hard to take a song that is written from a conceptual vision when you don't have the full context of the lore and trying to best analyze the message. So I think that would help strengthen the overall resolve and the theme of the piece if you could understand what the general storyline is. I like the conceptual direction, by the way. And there's many groups, I would say, especially in the rock scene lately, that have also, like certain messages, they've been playing around with this technique. There are just certain mainstays here with this release. I'm like, there's a lot of groups that seem to be kind of floating in and out of being, you're seeing this union ship. It's very interesting. It's a good track, though, from, again, I think the lyrics are pretty well written, but maybe it's a bit hard to analyze, I said, because there is a conceptual component here. The song itself is right along the lines of what I want. Freedom is Dead was excellent from a metal direction, and I did like the ballad direction, and I thought the track was still a good addition with Silence the World. I do prefer the harder direction that Demon Hunter is much more known for. Defense Mechanism really kicks up the pacing. I think it's even harder than Freedom is Dead, in my opinion, and I really like it. It's good. Very well put together track. And the guitarist that was accompanying Ryan on this track, or Ryan Clark, their frontman, I'm not familiar with him. Just see if I can find his name. Max Cavalera. He is, if you're not familiar, attributed as a metal guitarist for Cavalera Conspiracy, Killer Be Killed, Soulfly. Okay. I guess he's popular within like death metal, thrash metal. He's a really good blend, I think, in terms of a vocalist. I think he's the one singing, because that did not sound to me in any way like Ryan Clark. Ryan's got a very signature style to his vocals, and they're good here too. But this other guy, Max Cavalera, I think that's him. His voice is excellent, and I think the pairing of Ryan Clark and Max Cavalera is just beautiful on this track. I mean, I don't know if everybody else noticed this, but I was just kind of taken aback by how good it is. Very satisfactory. I'd love to see maybe, in future releases, I don't know if they did any more tracks on this album together, but I would love to see, more done with them in the future in terms of like other, album releases or singles. I'd love to see future collaborations, or I'd love to hear it. That was excellent. Really good blend. I mean, again, duets, you want to make sure that you have a sound that works. Sometimes you'll come across a duet track where perhaps the blend isn't the most satisfactory. Maybe the two artist styles kind of clash, or maybe it's just not the best blend in voice. Here, I think it gels seamlessly and makes for an excellent, harder, like substantially harder Demon Hunter song. It's excellent. Really good track all around. Fabulous addition. And again, like, you know, as I stated, Silence the World was good, but I did definitely want harder. And I'm like, okay, we're getting it with this one. I think it's, in my opinion, maybe you disagree, it does come across as a lot harder to me than Freedom is Dead. Even though Freedom is Dead is excellent, this is like substantially more aggressive. And I love it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts down below, especially if maybe you're coming across this video and you happen to be a first-time Demon Hunter listener. I hope you enjoyed that. If you're into metal, I'm sure this is probably up your alley, but I'd love to hear your feedback down below, whether you happen to be a first-time listener or maybe a long-time Demon Hunter fan like myself. I'd love to hear your feedback, as well as just on the overall thoughts on the track down below. And in terms of future releases, well, we still got a bit of a ways to go with Exile's release, which I will definitely say in terms of the release date, it's going to be like a listening party. Icon for Hire, again, like I said, a big favorite of mine. They're releasing their album the same day. So I have Icon for Hire over here, Demon Hunter over here, both releasing their music at the same time. It's going to be a great night. But I'm really looking forward to it. And I would, if there are any other singles released, because we still have a bit of a ways to go, maybe one or two. I don't know how many they're going to put out. I mean, we're still a bit of a ways away from September 9th. I'd say maybe one single. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But if there are any future singles, I will definitely cover them on this channel. And if you're interested, you know, as I've stated previously in my music-related coverage, I'm going to be starting a channel in the next year where perhaps Demon Hunter might make a couple appearances. I've been speaking previously about January 2023 being a key date for me in debuting Symphonies of Small Talk, which is going to be different from this channel. It is music exclusively. This channel, they're going to be integrated. This channel is much more based on first impression listens to new music or maybe new artists I'm unfamiliar with. Symphonies of Small Talk is going to allow me to talk about, you know, different groups and songs and music in general that, as I stated, you know, music for me has been a favorite art form for a long time. There's many songs that have left an impact on my life, whether they be just, you know, overall great expressions of art and expressions of an edifying culture, or just, you know, really good messages I think resonate with, you know, people, including myself, and have really left a lasting impact to whatever issue they might be addressing or whatever topic and focus. Symphonies of Small Talk is going to allow me to talk about music that's really been a staple, you know, in my, whether it be my childhood or where I'm at now, just music that's really significant in my opinion, and should be talked about more, whether they be perhaps from more well-established and well-known artists like Demon Hunter, maybe smaller ones too. I've got a whole list that seems to be growing at this point. Demon Hunter will be making a couple of appearances. I can definitely promise that at this point, going over my broad playlist, which is growing by the day. There are a couple tracks though that I think will be on the focus on that channel. I can't wait to, you know, for that channel to debut. But if you're interested in more music related material, or perhaps maybe enjoying some previous Demon Hunter songs with me, or maybe, like I said, maybe you're coming at this from a, you know, new perspective of never listening to Demon Hunter before, in which case I would recommend you go listen to their past 10 albums. They got quite the library, so you should be more than entertained or occupied. But I would definitely say if you're interested, maybe having or experiencing music on a deeper level with me, and just being able to appreciate this beautiful art form, specifically with groups like Demon Hunter, keep your eyes peeled for 2023 when I debut Symphonies of Small Talk. That hopefully, as I said, will be at the first of the year. But as I stated, I will cover Demon Hunter, you know, in terms of Exile, should they release any more stuff for their new album on this channel. And I think Defense Mechanism, another solid addition. It's perfect for me. Again, like I said, I wanted more Freedom is Dead in regard to energy, and this accelerates that in my opinion. But it's excellent. It's a nice addition, and I'm really looking forward to this new album. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.